Good morning. We are going to talk about producers, consumers, and decomposers, and the cycling of energy and also matter. So I have a couple of images here. This first one, we see nothing extraordinary here, but what you're tracking is the energy. Energy from the sun is going to be captured by plants. We know this through photosynthesis, right? And then the plants will get eaten, and then those things that ate the plants will get eaten, so on and so forth, the food chain. So it goes kind of in this one direction, but we have to remember every time something dies, it's going to get decomposed by organisms to be recycled. So we are tracking energy and matter. And a lot of this is about recycling, using up the matter and energy again. On this bottom diagram, what we see is the same kind of progression where we have our plants, our producers down here at the bottom, and then everything that eats them going up until you get to your apex predator. Well, in this particular case, what we're looking at here is the energy. And you'll notice that the energy decreases every time you go up a level. And it decreases by approximately 10% each time. Oh, I'm sorry. Only 10% is transferred. So it decreases by 90% each time. So just a small amount of energy is actually transferred when something is eaten. About 10% is transferred. 90% is lost to heat through biological processes. Like just keeping us warm, our bodies have to stay at 98 degrees, and that is heat that's used and lost and cannot go up to the next trophic level. Okay, so let's think some more about the energy. Now, like we said, the vast majority, almost all of the energy that we find in biological systems, so in living things, can be directly traced back to the sun. And that's because of these producers, these plants, that are able to take that energy from the sun and put it into food and structures for the plant, which then get eaten, right? That's almost every organism on Earth gets their energy from the sun. But there are these things called hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the ocean. And these hydrothermal vents, there's no sun there. There's no sunlight at all. It's so far down. The creatures down there can get their energy from chemical reactions that take place at these vents because of the conditions of these vents. So you get things like crabs and tube worms and fish all living off of these bacteria that are able to harvest energy through chemical reactions. That's one of the few exceptions to energy coming from the sun for living organisms. All right, now let's look at the categories. Now, this stuff should be review for you. So first we have producers. Mainly we're thinking of plants here, but it could be algae. So this picture shows photosynthetic algae. They do the same thing as plants and trees. They capture the sun's energy. It could also be those bacteria that were at the hydrothermal vents. They're also producers because they're producing food by capturing energy. Okay, next we have consumers. And your consumers are eating other organisms. Now, they might be eating plants, or they might be eating other living creatures, or a mixture of both. But they are not making their own food by capturing energy. They are consuming their food. And then finally, to bring this back into a cycle, to recycle both matter and energy, we have our decomposers. Now you can also think of the tricky part here is you can think of decomposers also as consumers, and there's not good agreement on this. It's fine to think of decomposers as being consumers, but they do have a special task. And they're going to break down dead organic matter. Which then all gets recycled to be used for new life and new energy transfers. All right, I hope this helps. Thanks.